The night bus rolled through the empty streets of Montreal, its headlights cutting through the February darkness. Inside, Hassan Osman sat in the driver's seat, his hands steady on the wheel, his eyes scanning the road ahead with practiced attention. It was 2:15 in the morning. Route 47. The route nobody wanted. Hassan had been driving this route for 8 years now. Through the poorest neighborhoods, past homeless shelters and halfway houses, along streets where danger lingered in doorways and desperation showed in every face that boarded his bus. Most drivers hated Route 47. They complained about the passengers, the late hours, the risk. They bid for better routes, better shifts, anything to get away from the night bus. But Hassan never complained. To him, every passenger was a person. Every person deserved respect. He was 58 years old, originally from Somalia, though he'd lived in Canada for over 30 years. His wife Amira worked as a nurse. His 2 children were grown now, living their own lives in Toronto and Vancouver. Hassan and Amira lived quietly in a small apartment in Verdun, saving what they could, grateful for what they had. Driving the night bus wasn't glamorous, but it was honest work. And Hassan took pride in doing it well. He knew his regular passengers by name. There was Claude, who worked the overnight shift at a bakery and always smelled like fresh bread. Marie France, a nurse like Amira, finishing her shift at the hospital. Young Marcus, who was studying accounting at university during the day and worked security at night to pay his tuition. Hassan greeted each of them. He waited an extra minute if he saw someone running for the bus. He kept granola bars and bottles of water in his bag for passengers who looked hungry or unwell. He turned up the heat on cold nights and never rushed anyone paying their fare, even when they fumbled for change. The other drivers sometimes teased him about it. "Why do you care so much, Hassan? They're just passengers." Hassan would smile quietly. "They're people. Same as you and me." On this particular February night, a brutal winter storm was moving in. Snow had been falling since evening and now it came down in thick, blinding sheets. The temperature had dropped to -25. The streets were treacherous. Hassan drove carefully, both hands on the wheel. The bus was nearly empty. Just 3 passengers. A young man sleeping in the back, headphones on. An elderly woman clutching shopping bags. And a middle-aged man staring out the window, his face hollow and tired. The bus approached the stop near the women's shelter on Rue Saint-Antoine. Hassan slowed, though no one was waiting. The shelter often let women out late at night, fleeing dangerous situations, and he always checked. As the bus rolled to a stop, he saw movement through the snow. A figure stumbled toward the bus, moving awkwardly, urgently. The doors hissed open. A young woman climbed aboard. Hassan's trained eye took in everything immediately. She was maybe 25, wearing only a thin jacket and jeans despite the freezing cold. Her face was twisted in pain, one hand pressed against her enormous belly. She was very pregnant, and she was crying. "Hospital," she gasped, gripping the pole by the door. "Please, I need hospital." Hassan was already reaching for his radio before she finished speaking. "Dispatch, this is bus 4712. I have a medical emergency. Pregnant passenger in active labor. Requesting immediate clearance to divert to Royal Victoria Hospital." The radio crackled. A bored voice responded. "Negative 4712. Maintain your route. Call an ambulance for the passenger." "There's no time," Hassan said firmly. "She needs help now. I'm 3 minutes from Royal Vic. I'm diverting." 4712, you are not authorized to leave your route. I repeat, negative. Stay on route and call emergency services. Hassan looked at the young woman. She had collapsed onto the front seat, her breathing rapid and shallow. Her water had broken. The floor beneath her was wet. He looked back at the road, at the swirling snow, at the empty streets. Then he made his decision. "Dispatch, I'm diverting to the hospital. Log it as my choice. 4712, if you leave your route, you will face disciplinary action." Hassan switched off the radio. He turned to his passengers. "Emergency situation. We're going to the hospital. It's not far. Everyone hold on." The elderly woman nodded. The sleeping young man woke up, saw what was happening, and moved to the front. "I know first aid," he said. "Let me help." Together they tried to keep the pregnant woman calm. Her contractions were coming fast now. Too fast. Hassan drove with intense focus, navigating the snow-covered streets as quickly as he dared. Every red light felt like an eternity. Every empty block stretched impossibly long. The young woman screamed. "I can see the head," the young man said, his voice tight with panic. "She's going to deliver here. Right now." 2 more minutes, Hassan said, pushing the bus faster. "Hold on. Both of you, please hold on." He could see the hospital now, its lit emergency entrance like a beacon through the storm. The bus skidded slightly as Hassan took the turn into the hospital driveway, but he kept control. He pulled directly up to the emergency entrance and slammed on the brakes. "Help!" he shouted, opening the doors. "We need help." 2 emergency room nurses came running out, followed by a doctor. "She's in labor," Hassan said quickly. "Contractions very close. Water broke about 5 minutes ago." The medical team moved with efficient speed, helping the woman onto a stretcher. She reached out and grabbed Hassan's hand as they wheeled her past. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." Then she was gone through the automatic doors, surrounded by nurses and doctors. Hassan stood in the falling snow, breathing hard, his heart pounding. The young man who'd helped climb down from the bus. "You might have saved her life," he said to Hassan. "And the babies." Hassan nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. The elderly woman appeared at the door. "You're a good man. God bless you." 20 minutes later, as Hassan was preparing to return to his route, his supervisor arrived. Gerald Morrison. A thin man with a permanently annoyed expression and a clipboard that never left his hand. "Hassan Osman?" "Yes. You abandoned your route. You ignored direct orders from dispatch. You put passengers at risk by deviating from approved roads during a winter storm." Hassan listened quietly. "You're suspended, effective immediately. Pending a full investigation. I need your keys and your transit authority ID." Hassan reached into his pocket and handed them over. "What about the woman?" he asked. "Is she all right?" "That's not your concern. You violated multiple regulations. This is serious." "I know. Do you have anything to say?" Hassan looked at his supervisor. "I would do it again." Gerald Morrison's mouth tightened. "Then you definitely won't be getting your job back. Go home, Hassan. You'll receive notice about the hearing by mail." Hassan walked away from the hospital. The snow had lightened to occasional flurries. Dawn was still hours away. He took the metro home, arriving at his apartment just as Amira was waking up for her own shift. "You're home early," she said, then saw his face. "What happened?" Hassan told her everything. When he finished, Amira was quiet for a long moment. Then she took his hands in hers. "You did the right thing. I lost my job. No. You saved a life. Maybe 2 lives. That's more important than any job." Hassan wanted to believe her. But that night, lying in bed, he felt the weight of what he'd done. No job meant no income. They had some savings, but not much. He was 58 years old. Who would hire him now? 3 days later, the story broke. A passenger from the bus, the young man who'd helped with the delivery, had recorded the whole incident on his phone. Not for views or attention, just because he knew what he'd witnessed mattered. He posted it on social media with a simple caption. "This bus driver was fired for saving a pregnant woman's life." The video spread like wildfire. Within 24 hours, it had been viewed 3 million times. Within 48 hours, it was on the national news. By the end of the week, international media outlets were calling. "Bus driver fired for saving passenger." Transit authority under fire for punishing act of heroism. Hassan Osman, the driver who put humanity first. The public response was immediate and fierce. Thousands of people called the Montreal Transit Authority demanding Hassan be reinstated. Protests formed outside their headquarters. Politicians issued statements. The mayor of Montreal called for a review of transit policies. The Transit Authority, drowning in negative publicity, quickly reversed course. They offered Hassan his job back with full back pay and a public apology. A spokesperson appeared at a press conference, reading from a prepared statement. "We recognize that Mr. Osman acted with compassion and courage. Upon further review, we are reinstating him immediately and commending him for his service." The reporters weren't satisfied. What about the regulations that led to his firing? Will policy changes be made? The spokesperson fumbled through non-answers. That evening, Hassan received a call from the Transit Authority's CEO personally. "Mr. Osman, we're prepared to offer you your job back. We'll also include a bonus as compensation for this misunderstanding." Hassan sat in his living room, phone pressed to his ear, Amira beside him. "Thank you," he said carefully. "But I need to know something first. Would any other driver face the same discipline for making the same choice I did?" There was a pause. "Well, technically the regulations do state." "Then I don't want my job back. Mr. Osman. I want the regulations changed. No driver should be punished for helping someone in a medical emergency. No person in crisis should be told to wait because of bureaucracy. That's what I want." Another pause. Longer this time. "That would require negotiations with the union, legal review, policy changes across the entire system." "Then that's what I'm asking for. Change the policy. Protect drivers who do the right thing. When that happens, call me back." He hung up. Amira stared at him. "Hassan, we need the money." "I know. But this is bigger than us now. The next day the drivers' union called. They'd heard about Hassan's demand. They wanted to support it. Within a week, negotiations began. The transit authority, still reeling from public pressure, agreed to policy changes. New guidelines were drafted. Drivers would be protected when making emergency diversions for medical reasons. Training would be updated. Dispatch protocols would be revised. It took 6 weeks to finalize everything. When it was done, the changes were implemented not just in Montreal, but across transit systems in Toronto, Vancouver, Ottawa, and Calgary. A national standard emerged from Hassan's single decision. He was offered his job back again. This time he accepted. On his first day returning to work, he received a standing ovation from his fellow drivers. People he'd never met shook his hand. Strangers thanked him on the street. But Hassan remained quiet and humble through it all. "I just did what anyone should do," he told reporters who still occasionally called. "I saw someone who needed help and I helped them. That's all." But there was more to the story. The young woman Hassan had helped that night, her name was Marie Duchamp. She was a refugee from Haiti, having arrived in Canada only 8 months earlier. She'd been working 2 jobs to survive, had no family nearby, no support system. When her labor started during a late-night shift at a cleaning company, she had no one to call, nowhere to go. She'd stumbled through the snow to the nearest bus stop, praying someone would help. Hassan had been that someone. Marie gave birth to a healthy baby girl 20 minutes after arriving at the hospital. Both mother and child survived because Hassan got them there in time. But Marie's struggles didn't end at the hospital. She was alone in a foreign country with a newborn baby, no money and nowhere to live. When Hassan learned this from a news report, he and Amira went to visit her. They found Marie in a cramped room at a women's shelter, her tiny daughter sleeping in a donated bassinet. "You saved us," Marie said when she saw Hassan, tears streaming down her face. "You and your wife, you are the only people who have shown me kindness since I came to this country." Hassan and Amira looked at each other. The same thought passed between them without words. "Come home with us," Amira said gently. "We have a spare room. It's not much, but it's yours until you get on your feet." Marie stared at them in disbelief. "You would do that? For me? You need help," Hassan said simply. "So we help." Marie and her daughter, whom she named Amira in honor of Hassan's wife, moved into the spare bedroom in the Osman apartment. The room that had been empty since their own children left home now held new life. Hassan and Amira helped Marie find better work, navigate immigration paperwork and learn English. They babysat while she worked. They taught her about Canadian culture and systems. They became her family. It wasn't always easy. Space was tight. Money was tighter. But none of that seemed to matter. "We were refugees once too," Hassan told Marie one evening as they sat together, baby Amira sleeping peacefully between them. "When we first came to Canada, people helped us. Now it's our turn to help someone else." 3 years passed. Marie found stable work as a medical receptionist. She saved enough money to rent her own small apartment. Baby Amira grew into a bright, laughing toddler who called Hassan Pepe, and his wife, Grandma. Even after moving out, Marie and her daughter visited the Osmans every Sunday for dinner. The connection had become permanent, unbreakable. 10 years later, little Amira Duchamp stood on stage at her elementary school graduation. She'd finished top of her entire grade. The principal called Hassan and his wife to stand. "These are Amira's grandparents," the principal announced to the auditorium full of families. "Though not by blood. By something stronger. By choice and love." The audience applauded. Amira ran to Hassan and hugged him tight. "Thank you, Pepe," she whispered. "For saving us." Hassan's eyes filled with tears. He thought about that snowy night so long ago. The split-second decision. The choice to deviate from his route. A route that changed 3 lives forever. When reporters occasionally still asked Hassan about that night, about his decision to break the rules, he always gave the same answer. "I didn't do anything special. I just drove a different route. That's all." But Marie knew better. She knew that Hassan hadn't just driven a different route that night. He'd chosen a different way of being human. A way that said rules matter but people matter more. A way that measured worth not in policy or procedure, but in compassion and courage. Marie's daughter is 20 now. She just finished her first year at McGill University, studying to become a doctor. When asked why she chose medicine, she always tells the same story about a bus driver who saved her mother's life before she was even born. About grandparents who weren't related by blood but loved her anyway. About a lesson learned before she could even speak. That lesson? Kindness is the only route worth taking. Hassan is retired now, 78 years old. He and Amira still live in the same small apartment in Verdun. Every Sunday, 3 generations gather for dinner. Hassan and Amira, Marie, and young Amira, the university student. They share food, laughter, and stories. And sometimes, on snowy winter nights when the city lights blur through the falling flakes, Hassan looks out the window and thinks about Route 47. The route nobody wanted. The route that gave him everything that truly mattered. Not wealth or fame or recognition, but family, connection, love freely given and returned. He'd driven that route for 8 years before the night everything changed. Since then he's understood something profound. The most important route we travel isn't the one mapped by streets and schedules. It's the one we choose when someone needs help and we have the power to give it. Hassan chose his route 30 years ago in a snowstorm. And he's never regretted it for a single moment. Thank you for watching to the end. Hope to see you on our next video. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Lots of love.